If you like this and you want to get it for yourself, then go to my Patreon at patreon.com/silverrockscraft. With only a $2 subscription, you are able to get this and every other project I have done in the past. Also, remember to leave a comment, rating and subscribing to my channel. It helps out a lot. Thank you and enjoy the video. Hello and welcome. This is Silverrocks, and in today's episode we are going to be making the Destiny, the hawkmoon revolver. Now, in this episode I'm going to be doing things slightly different, so tell me if you enjoy it this way. So let's get started and how I did this. To start off, what I needed to do was create, I obviously started with the cylinder for the revolver, but I did that because it's the easiest way to determine what is going to be a reference to the overall size and shape of the revolver itself. So I started off by making a circle. That circle I would extrude into the full size of the revolver. Eventually I decided to go against that, and I decided to make it into an array modifier by splitting all the edges and then using the array to pretty much mirror all 6 sides equally. With that, it was just a matter of detailing it. It was a simple process, nothing too complicated. What I needed to do next was, well, I didn't need to, I want to create the barrel, because the barrel itself is the largest piece of this build. It is simply easiest to do as big pieces as possible than to make the small details that then you have to delete them. So I made the barrel by just simply adding a plane and then cutting this plane into the shape I wanted and extruding it. Making the hole for the barrel was easy as well. The only thing that I had to worry about was the front piece. That front piece was a separate attachment. The front sides was a separate attachment as well, so I had to worry about cutting that specifically. And the middle of the barrel, there's an indent with the separate pieces we do attach later on, so it's another thing I need to worry about. After the barrel was done, I decided to go on to the underbarrel. That was also a simple proposition. All I had to do was first figure out what the overall shape was by looking at it from the front. So once that was done, I just created a shape that would go around the holes that go through the underbarrel. That was also easy. Once that was done, I just duplicated that shape throughout the entire thing and filled all the faces in. It's a very simple thing to do. From that I went to the grip. Now the grip I did in several parts. Originally I was going to do even more parts, and I was going to take out the trigger guard into a separate piece. I decided to go against it. So to the trigger, all I needed to do was trace the outside of it. Now that was simple. It was just vertice after vertice after vertice, follow the relative shape of the end grip. From there I had to create this kind of bevel around it. I didn't want to use the bevel tool, so I decided to make the vertex position myself. So I went around positioning every single vertex until I had the shape I was comfortable with, and I didn't want to use the bevel tool because of the trigger grip, as the trigger grip is supposed to be a flat surface that connects to this bevel. So I needed to create the bevel and then connect it to the trigger, which I did. Other than that, the sides of the end grip are completely flat, because later on I was going to attach the covers to that. After that, I did the connection between the hand grip and the underbarrel. That is the part that is also going to hold what I assume are the laser sights from this. This was a different position. Once again, just create a very simple shape, and after that I had to create the 3 laser sight looking things that are attached to it. sorry, one of them is supposed to be a flashlight, the other two are the laser attachments. The front one was quite a trick, I had to make the indent for the middle piece to attach to, but the other two were actually incredibly simple, as I needed only to create them and attach them to the sides. From that I needed to also make the support pieces that are going to go between those laser sights and the under barrel, because as you can see in the under barrel there's a slight plate that's supposed to, I assume, be the attachment point for all of this. From that I needed to create the two pieces that are going to go underneath the attachment themselves that would theoretically be supporting the laser sights to the under assembly. From that I needed to create what was the mechanism for the hammer, the striking hammer for the revolver. That I decided to make a separate piece from the actual grip, because the back part was actually larger than the grip, and I saw that doing it separately would actually be much better. So once again I made the very rough shape on this, making sure that it was actually larger than what I was working with. From that I needed to detail it, because it was completely flat, it looked terrible, so I pretty much beveled the entire surroundings of this thing, making sure that all vertices had a place to go, so there was no face that protruded out or any mistakes on it. So it was a very simple process, and this is just a support piece I was going to now hold. What is the hammerhead, the hammer striking hammer. Once again, that's just a small face, a small tube that I detailed into the shape of the hammer itself. That doesn't really require any specific details. From there I went to the trigger that I hadn't done before, I forgot. So the trigger, pretty much the same process, is just vertex after vertex after vertex, making sure that it follows the contour of the image I got on the internet. That all just closes, making sure that it doesn't have any openings, making a closed face and a closed mesh, and there we go. That's a simple process. From there I had to go into the end guards that go around the grip itself. They give the grip some texture. This I did by pretty much duplicating the mesh of the grip, cutting away only the faces that keeping the faces that I need, and from there just shaping them into the rough outline of the guards themselves. From there I pretty much just extruded it forward, making the bevel that created this ridge that pretty much gives some detail to this thing. And from there I pretty much deleted the entire top part and made it so that it follows the contour of that small protrusion that exists on the top of the hand grip, the grip. So that was pretty much just making the contour for the bottom, contour for the top, and then uniting all of it. It was a very simple process. It wasn't that time consuming or anything. The worst part of it was trying to create a connection between this semicircle that I now add on the top and the opposite curve that I add on the bottom. So overall it was fine. It wasn't that much of an headache. I did try to make it through several layers as I was trying to add vertical limits on the side. Now I went against it, so I made direct connections. Overall it wasn't as bad as I expected it was going to be. From that I went into that small hook that is on the bottom of the grip. Once again, all I needed to do that was create a face that was protruding from the bottom. From that I had to work out the contours of the spike. From there what I did was I create two lines on the middle of this hook. Well, these two lines were there to create a surface that I later on would actually bend to all the contour of the hook itself, and then I was going to unite all the faces to make somewhat of a conic shape that I was going to work with. With that done, I went on to working with on what I assume is the back, the rear sides. These are really rear sides because yet again it's a fantasy game, so everything goes. That was kind of not exactly straightforward. Not the design of the backsides, but meshing the backsides with the actual body of the revolver itself was a bit of a problem. Like I said, the back sides were complete, and I was just making the content, extruding them, and making them a flat, solid mesh. The problem came when it was to attach them to the actual revolver, because the entire thing was angled, so I couldn't just place them against it, as they would eventually just sag inwards because of the angle. And two, the the support piece for the striking hammer was in the way, so it was colliding with its actual mesh. So what I had to do was make a cut on that mesh that would fit the rear sides, and then I had to add two support pieces in the middle that was supposed to keep this parallel to each other. So that's how I got away with attaching this into a what's the words? An incline. So that's how I got around this problem. Next was something I forgot to do at the beginning, because I imagine this was like a normal revolver where only one of the sides has a cut that allows the cylinder to spin outward, but throughout all of the reference pictures I found, this cuts go from one side to the other, and I didn't took that into consideration while making the barrel. So I spent quite a while trying to make this so that only one of the sides had this cut, until I realized that I didn't need to apply the mirror modifier. I could have worked with it just fine, so that's what I ended up doing. I deleted half of it again, did the mirror modifier again, and made it so that that cut went completely through the entire back of a similar barrel. With that done, what I needed to do next was create a support piece for the cylinder. Now that was easy. I just duplicated the side of the cylinder, making sure that the extrusion that goes from the front of the cylinder to the barrel was smaller than the support piece for the cylinder itself, because that would be the piece that was going to attach to the support piece that I was going to make later. So with that done, I went to the support piece. Obviously that was merely a cube that I shaped so that it would meet the edges of the barrel itself. I cut the hole in the middle so that the cylinder could attach to it, extrude it downward, and I made sure that it passed the bottom assembly, not the rail assembly, the one below it. I made sure that it went into it. From there I made a small cut into it so that this piece will fit inside. Now I did this because of alignment. One, making sure that paper pieces align isn't exactly easy if you don't make keyways like this. If you actually pay attention to what you are doing, you can make it just fine. It is not a problem at all. The problem is when you are taking consideration certain things, like paper pieces and things like that. So what I made was this keyway that is going to attach to that piece. Both the barrel and the bottom assembly are going to attach to that piece, and so forth and so forth. So far, all pieces should attach properly into their place if I align them properly. That was pretty much the whole process it took me from there on. It was just unfolding it. That's the easiest part, probably the most boring, but the easiest and the fastest part to achieve. Now this was a request made by one of my YouTube subscribers. After I made my Ghost Papercraft build, he asked me if I could make the Destiny Hawkmoon build, and I decided to say yes, sure, I can do that just fine, it will not be a problem. So with this video pretty much done, I want you to tell me what you think of this. This is a different format. I'm not going to step by step on how I do this. No, sorry, showing you the entire thing. What I am doing it is going detail by showing the specific part that I think are most interesting. What I needed to do to either overcome a problem that I found, or just something interesting of the certain piece I did. I really want your opinion on this because I obviously want to make these videos as pleasing as possible. But with that said, thank you for watching, subscribe, and I hope I see you again in the future. Thank you and goodbye.